Yeah, what's going up, guys? I'm Joker45 here, and Frank, to be honest, sorry for the long break again, but then again, like I keep saying, I don't have a schedule or anything. I do stuff on my own time, which is definitely probably for the better sanity myself. I learned from the very first few years working on YouTube was like, okay, don't try to make content like almost every single day. Take a break, you deserve it, and it's like it's better for you because you don't want to kill yourself in the end or to like be overexhausted and be like, yeah, it's this and that, and it's like just relax, try to have fun, do it at your own pace. Like, and then again, you do start to say to yourself, you're not doing this to make money or anything. This is just you doing it for fun for a very good reason. So anyway, let's get to some more discussion rant video. Again, you saw the title again of this video is that it's time for discussion, time for rant, and honestly, this is one of those rant that's like everyone's gonna have a good time with, and at the same time, people are gonna be nodding their head and agreeing like, yeah, there's some things that you're going to agree to disagree upon. But then again, that is the thing I always keep saying about these discussion rants. These are for us to get us to a very good discussion to start ranting about shit. And it's honestly is again for the better. Better again, it comes down to Netflix and the animation department right now. Well, first off and foremost, let's get to the basics of things. It is sad for me to say this. Like, let me be real. Let me have a real talk with you. Let me be myself, and not be the guy who's like, oh, you're gonna defend Netflix and everything. There's one thing I can see the same thing with the side of Netflix that certain departments are going to be shifting around, strategizing a lot, and be like, well, some of these departments are going to have to either be partly be cut back or like are going to have a major cutback to it. And it's honestly going to be, and honestly, as I keep on saying that, hey, you know what? It is sad to see a lot of the stuff, go away. Projects be canceled, projects be on hold, and be like, hold on, we're going to wait a little bit until like we are fully ready to do this. And honestly, you can't. And honestly, as I keep on saying that, you can honestly understand and see, why is this happening? Like why is this happening? Netflix is honestly is not in the best position right now to be like, well, honestly, to be like, well, we're losing a lot of subscribers. Well, we're not gaining subscribers rate as we used to. We're not gaining a lot. Things are happening to us. The competition is very tough, and honestly, right now, it's like they're not making. I would say, well, you could say, well, maybe they're still making a profit right now, but how much of that profit is still coming back to them? How much of that is still happening because of them? How much of that is just like, well, we're screwed right now. The competition is getting better. People are going to Disney Plus, HBO Max, Discovery Plus, Paramount, Paramount Plus. They're going to Apple TV of all places, and other streaming sites are coming along. But like, even if they're just like, we're just, distributing movies and shows that you can't get elsewhere as well, it's still like, well, this is the competition. People don't want a monopoly at the same time. But then again, there are too many streaming sites of the like, well, what do we keep, what do we don't keep? Again, it's all about the main thing about the content that you have are the content that people are going to subscribe to, and the content is what's going to sell a whole lot of things. The content is what people are going to subscribe to. People were subscribed to all these sites before Netflix was the biggest company, or even after the biggest, or before Netflix was the main dog, and before like all these other companies started coming in and started taking their IPs back, but like, well, now we're having it on our site now because we can, and we see the money that you're making, and it's like, well, let's get our site going as well, because hey, we want these original projects as well. Like, for crying out loud, I think the best project on HBO Max for me is still gonna be Den of Wolves. I honestly love that show that Ridley Scott has created, and the direction is very solid acting, solid visuals, and the storyline is really great. And it's stuff that you possibly cannot get at Netflix, and they probably could, but then they also probably would have been like, well, we're just gonna go up ahead and cancel it. It's like, don't cancel it right now. Even stuff that's from like the graphic novel side of things, like or even for the comics, like Jupiter's Legacy could have been a really good show to have, but it's like they don't give it a month, and it's like, yeah, 3.5 weeks later, we're gonna cancel it, despite it being the number one show streaming on Netflix for that time period, the number one show consistently for a while, and a lot of people were discussing, talking about it, and even besides, everyone is still having mixed feelings, like I did, like, hey, why are we focusing on the parents too long in the past, which I believe according to Angry Joe was solved within a few pages of the comic books. And it's like, really? That's all it took? It took an entire season to explain, like, this is how we got the powers. This is how we got to the island. This is how we got our friends, this group of strangers involved and whatnot. I'm like, it took a full season to do that. And on the present day side of things, which was more interesting in my opinion, for the most part, instead of being like, Dad is this and that, I'm like, oh God. And yet it's like canceled. But then you go onto the side of things of like, this is why they canceled it. It went over budget. Okay, understandable. They did fire like one of the creators on. It's like, ooh, that doesn't look too good. And at the same time, it's like, well, this and that happened behind the scenes. And it's like, and then you start to go to, well, it's like, well, could you blame them for canceling stuff like that? It's like, but then it's like you gave it a month and that's about it. I would have gave it a little bit longer. Even something in my opinion that's like it took too long to either canceled or even to decide upon. It was just kind of like, well, that happened, this happened, and everything. So it's like, well, it's like you can understand why the cancellation is, but then again, you get something that is still a banger to my in my opinion. It's still really fucking great if you have not been watching on the anime side of things. Watch Super Crooks, and my God, Super Crooks was an absolute blast. It was an absolute banger of an anime. I mean, they not only did they expand upon what was given to them from the graphic novel side of things, but at the same time it was also like holy crap, this show was really just absolutely amazing. It was fantastic, wonderful anime art style by Studio Bones, an absolute banger of a soundtrack, an absolute way to introduce the main characters, the main themes of the show, and just how episode one ended, where you're like, I knew this is how you're just like, I know how this is gonna end, and you're like, but still, it's like, holy shit, that's how you start a fucking show, and it's like, let's get to it, and you can understand why they're like, okay, we'll just go with a live action show now instead of continuing Jupiter's Legacy, despite the creator of that show, not even that creator of the show, the author Frank Miller, but like I'll still pitch it around to see like who are willing to pick it up again. So I'm like, I mean, good for Frank Miller, for like, hey, there's still hope for continuing that show. Even I will say Netflix is still pretty good at picking up some revival shows. Was it Last Man or something with Designated Survivor, which is pretty good for a third season, but they decided to cancel that, and I think it's still being shopped around to this day to like potential buyers who's gonna pick it up, unless I'm wrong, unless I'm wrong about that, and they decided to like someone decided to be like, yeah, we're not gonna do that, we're just gonna do, leave it alone, which again, that is up to them, for the creators of that show. They did a good job picking up Lucifer, which got a proper conclusion, which I was very happy for. They also picked up Manifest, which I heard was pretty good. I'm like, I mean, like the cast were like, "Hey, you saved Manifest," because I guess was very much popular on the streaming side for a while after they picked it up, and it's like, "Hey, we're new for a fourth and final season," which again, pretty good idea to do. So what I'm saying is, even picking up some stuff on the animation side of things, which are pretty good, even them picking up some more license of the anime. But I think what I'm gonna say about this onwards for the animation side of things, because let's talk about it now, is that it's still very sad to see a lot of these projects get canceled. Some of them could have been interesting, like the Wings of Fire series, which I felt like, what's it called? The Wings of Fire, that was going to be produced by Ava DuVernay, which was based off a book series about dragons. I'm like, okay, which were could have been interesting to see. Yeah, I'm like, honestly, they should have put on HBO Max instead of being like, we'll put on Netflix. But then again, you can understand why it accidentally got canceled. Like, they got to axe it. Anarch's Baby, this one, I'm actually happy, glad that it got canceled. There was no way it was going to be that amazing. Bones and Curse, I have no idea if this is going to be. Raise the Bar is based on a graphic novel, or at least it's going to be adapted to a graphic novel instead, which is kind of like, okay, I can understand, see why. If you're not going to get this animation, you might as well do a graphic novel. Troy in Trouble, I have no toy in trouble. Which I have no idea what it's gonna be about. And then again, like the big obvious one is Bones by Jeff Smith, which he was trying to get created for quite some time now. But it's like, man, I feel bad for Jeff Smith. I believe that was during mid-production when this got canceled. So it's like, well, good luck again if he's gonna find another studio, or as you might well say, I might as well do a Kickstarter and see who's gonna help me out. Which, again, very, very much sad for a lot of this. But then again, as everyone's gonna say, but do you understand why a lot of this stuff is getting canceled? Part of it is definitely, well, they're cleaning house right now. They're not doing as hot. They're not doing as good. They're doing a lot of things which are definitely questionable for a lot of different people for a lot of good reasons. Everyone has a lot of things to criticize them for. There's a lot of projects there. Again, I'm gonna keep saying that you have every right to be mad about because it's like you don't want these projects to be canceled. Like you want them to at least like just get out the door, see how it does for a while, and then decide the fate about it. Like, and not to mention you also got it still, in my opinion, still very much still. See how things go. Just don't cancel it right away. But at the same time, it's like again, you can understand why they're being canceled. The understanding why is being like they're not doing too well, and things are gonna have to get cut back from the films, from live action shows, the animation, even anime. But then even despite that, they're putting more effort into anime. Thank you. More anime, more the better. But then again, I will keep saying this for the anime and animation side of things. You can still do that. Increase more. Like we want more anime on our project. On our site, we want more animation. Even things are gonna have to be reorganized, re-strategized for a bit. But I always keep saying this: not at the cost of your animators. I mean, for crying out loud, the more we keep bringing up about Yusuke, what happened at Studio Mappa with that, when one of the big content, one of the big animators come up and saying that, we did not get paid correctly on Yusuke by Studio Mappa and even by Netflix. It's like it brings into you a whole new perspective. It's like, okay, Netflix, I still kind of like Yusuke. It could have been written better. It could have removed some of the more magical bullshit that was in there. Even some of the mechs, which I like the mechs were definitely overkill. But I will say it still had some great animation, great art style, some very great music, and a killer intro, which I will admit, which was absolutely amazing to hear from time to time. But it's still like, god damn it, I fucking hate this camp so much. It's still like, well, it is what it is, unfortunately. It is what it is. And unfortunately, I can't control Netflix, but I think they really need to bring it around. Be like, all right, guys, let's have a big meeting. Let's strategize. Let's talk about this. And we need to get our acts together because, everyone is definitely calling us out big time on this. Because, honestly, some of this stuff should not be happening. It's very sad. It's very unfortunate that a lot of this stuff has been happening. And it's like they got to do something. They got to get the content rolling again. They got to get people to come in and be like, hey, we want to watch this. Hey, we want to do this stuff. And I would say there's still some projects in there that I am very much excited to see. From the Zack Snyder things, he's got two projects. Remember, we still have that anime prequel called Army, Day of the Dead, like Army of the Dead, Las Vegas, which is the anime prequel, which is going to expand more upon the Army of the Dead universe that Zack has made up with his films. It started with his reimagining of Day of the Dead. It also just started with, Day of the Dead, then you got Army of the Dead, then you got the Army of Thieves, and then it's like, so things in my opinion are gonna be very interesting to see what happens. Not to mention he also has his Norse mythology series called Twilight of the Gods, which again, that one's being done by Powerhouse Animation. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm excited for this shit. I'm excited to see this. I'm very excited to see where this goes, and I'm very pumped to see this as well. But also at the same time, you got stuff that are being done by other studios around the world. Like again, Love, Death, and Robots, which again I am very much excited to see more if we get more volumes. Even though that's done by different animation studios around the world, I would love to see what the Netflix side of animation, what they would be doing. See if someone got the lights to that. For crying out loud, like the director of Kung Fu Panda 2 directed one of the shorts for Volume 3. I'm like, didn't see that coming. And honestly, that was very amazing. You know, you got Keanu Reeves' Berserk, which is an anime style series follow up to his live action film adaptation. You got Far Cry, Splinter Cell, Terminator, Tomb Raider, Far Cry, Tomb Raider. You know, upcoming. What's this called? Artsiax. I have no idea what this is called, but it's like sound interesting. Which sound interesting. You know, which sounds very interesting in my opinion. Which sounds very interesting in my opinion. You know, you got the Sonic Prime series that's coming. You got Exploding Kittens. I have no idea what the hell that is. You got yourself the Al Church show, which sounds interesting. You got, you know, Devil May Cry, Horny Hears a Who. You get One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. What was something that's called with the Mouse series again? Yeah, Redwall, which sounds interesting. But then again, I would keep on saying this for the animation side of things. It's very sad, and it kind of feels like that they need to get it together. They need to get their act together. I'm very sad to see a lot of these projects cancel and animators getting fired, saying that you're fired, we're sorry, and then a lot of them going back to Disney, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, or if a few of them do start their own studios, that's good for you. Do your own thing. Or if someone wants to go solo, good luck, and I hope you do better. And I think one of them for the solo projects, I think if you remember this, because this was on Twitter a while back ago, that God, I can't remember who the artist was, but it was she. I believe she must have pitched something to Netflix. She got rejected. Came on Twitter saying that rejected by Netflix. I make beautiful animation films. You know, it's also their loss. And when you see the art style, God, I wish I could find it again. Is that it kind of made a lot of people go like, whoa, whoa, wait a second. You got rejected by Netflix. I'm going to keep the artist nameless, but I'm pretty sure you can find them out if you know who exactly I'm talking about. Or you can look up key search words about it on Twitter. Go like, rejected by Netflix, beautiful film, animated beautiful films. And according to one of my buddies, when he looked at it, it's like, hey, this kind of reminds me of Bloodborne. But I'm like, okay, maybe not full-blown Bloodborne, but I'm like, I am reminding this about being more of that gothic romance style of films that I do like. And I'm like, yeah, the art style does remind me of that. Of this kind of creepy, you know, gothic romance horror film that you could be doing. And when you do see that art style, you're like, they rejected you. Their loss. And I agree with a lot of people. It's their loss. Or maybe, again, you could pitch it again later to them. Or, in my opinion, you could pitch it to a different studio. Or then again, doing solo, but I'm going to keep saying this. If you go solo, that's a lot of planning. You need to plan things out a whole lot better. This is probably you doing things, you know, to 100% of your ability. It's like, well, I'm going to do the solo. And we definitely have seen a lot of solo projects. There have definitely been a lot of hit or miss. I'm definitely on one of them. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's like at the same time, I'm only the editor of the screenplay. I look over shit and I look over the screenplay and be like, this is good, that's good, or it's like, we need to really fix this. And I was to a point where I'm going to stay this by myself. I reached my limit. I'm like, this is as far as I can go. And I told the creator, I'm like, you need help. And I'm like, go to this person, because clearly you guys follow each other. I do also follow the guy elsewhere. I'm going to name him nameless, and the creator also to be nameless as well. And when I look at his bio and everything, I'm like, okay, obviously he's a screenwriter. He does his own thing. And I saw one of his videos, like, it's like just me doing a little bit thing of this. And I'm like, obviously he's writing a lot. And obviously, if we could help you on this project, that's even better, since ours is an unpaid, fan-made project. So it's like, oh, so yours is based off a property. That is correct. And it's also at the same time, it's like, so you guys know the source material, correct, and you guys want to do this project, correct again. But it's also at that same time, it's like we're gonna have to do it to be in a way that's gonna be like, hey, this is gonna take a whole lot of time, hopefully. But at the same time, it's like, if we want to do this, we're gonna need all the help we can get. And it's like, and I was in that department going like, hey, you know what? I need help. I need another editor, and we're gonna need things to at least hurry up, because I think one of my examples I said that I ain't gonna work on this project if it takes longer than Yandere Simulator. But you know what? To me, that's just me being honest. I told the creator that, I will be honest with you. The truth does hurt, and it's like, well, if I gotta say shit, I'm gonna say shit in a very much truthful way. But it's gonna be like, hey, this is the truth. We're gonna need help. We're crazy for doing this project on ourselves, but it's like we're gonna need help, big time. So I can definitely understand from coming from a fan point of view, who's doing a fan project that's like, yeah, it's definitely gonna suck if our project gets canceled and things happen in a way. That things are gonna happen. At the same time, you can be very mad at Netflix for saying, well, technically speaking, these aren't in-house for the Netflix studios. Again, Castlevania, Love, Death, and Robots, The Witcher, and Arcane. They're done by companies around the world to international companies. They're the ones that only got the rights to streaming rights to it. But then again, Love, Death, and Robots is their own because it was created by David Fincher and Tim Miller. So technically speaking, if David Fincher and Tim Miller want to pull the project on Netflix, they can kind of do whatever they want. But at the same time, if Netflix bought out the rights exclusively, then it's like, well, then it's like it is going to be what it is. But then again, Netflix can still renew that sucker for a season three, and I'm hoping that we do get a not season three, a volume 4, 5, and 6, because honestly, I think that can also even be better for some animators, in a way. Sure, but that's Love, Death, and Robots. These are one-off shows. Then again, that one-off could eventually gain itself a series. I think a lot of people are like hopeful. Are kind of like hoping in a way that you can honestly, or at least theorizing to be like, hey, a little fun idea for Love, Death, and Robots if they want a fun idea for Love, Death, and Robots is that they can honestly, give Three Little Robots its own little mini series. They can continue to explore the world of a, now, dystopian Earth where it's like what happened to the human race, what happened to them, where are they now, if some of them have survived, whatnot. And it's honestly, I'm definitely saying that's not a bad idea, actually. And even some of the shorts for Love, Death, and Robots, it's like, you definitely can be exploring more of some of these worlds if they, again, do renew it, or like be like, hey, well, why don't we take some of these shorts from Love, Death, and Robots and make them a full-fledged series? But some of them honestly do work better as a short. But some of them are so damn good, it's like, you can start to say that's like, yeah, I would love to see this as show or a full-length feature film if they ever do get the chance to do that. It's like, again, some of these people, I'm with you. I'm with on a lot of people for that. But like, yes, some of these could be some really good shows if they get it, or even movies if it's done correctly. Again, like, but I keep on saying it's gotta be done correctly. It's gotta be done correctly in a way. Correctly in a way. And I'm gonna be saying that a lot of people are, again, are not wrong to that stuff. If I go back to the animation side of things, it's still like, again, it's not a good time to be an animation employee, but also at the same time, you're still praying and hoping to be like, God, I hope I don't get canceled next, or they pull this project right now. Because honestly, right now, Netflix, again, I agree with a lot of people, they're gonna need a lot of content to come to their site quickly, and hopefully they get a lot of things going, because as I keep on stating and saying, you got a lot. The streaming wars are picking up right now. The streaming wars are getting heated right now for a very, very good reason. Okay, whoa, where am I going? There I'm at. And it's honestly, it's like they're gonna need a lot of content, and animation can definitely be one thing. I always say this animation's for adult, but when I'm also saying animation's for everyone. Who's to say that you can't make an anime show for teenagers, adults, kids? No one's saying that. People are saying that you can make animation for anyone. The fundamental rule about animation, there are no rules. You can do whatever you want, do whatever you want, create whatever you want, and do a whole lot of things. There's some things in animation that can't even be done in live action that you do say that, you know what, making stuff animation is for the better. Look how much Arcane would have looked like if they made it live action. It probably would have been done as well, and it probably would look very weird in a way. Because again, people will say, well, what about cosplayers? It's one thing that cosplayers can nail the costumes down, but it's also at the same time, how do you translate something from League of Legends into a live action show or film? It honestly can't work that way. Again, look at a lot of the anime fans out there, and we will tell you that some of our anime and manga and light novels are not going to work in a live action setting. Again, I'm fearing a whole lot for the One Piece adaptation. I think some of the actors they hired, pretty decent actors to good standard, but One Piece in a live action setting. It still has me very much nervous. It still has me very much. It still has me very much. I'm very much nervous. I'm very much afraid. I mean, look what happened to my Cowboy Bebop. Could a Cowboy Bebop adaptation work in live action? Heck yeah, it could. But honestly, it backfired on them big time. And I'm honestly very sad that it got canceled. But you know what? It was for the better. It honestly was for the better. It didn't work too well. And honestly, here we are right now going like, well, Netflix, you screwed up Cowboy Bebop. Because the writers didn't listen to the fans, the writers didn't listen to what made the original show work. They didn't listen to Shinichiro Watanabe, which they should have, which he gave them advice like, this is my advice, do it. And it's like the writers should have easily listened to at the same time. The creator of Cowboy Bebop, his name escapes me. He's like, I'm warning you. It doesn't look that good. From a trailer perspective, it's like, God damn it, that trailer did not do them justice. What happened to Faye Valentine made me very mad. I'm very upset what happened to Faye. Faye's an awesome character. I mean, the costume was one thing. I'm like, okay, that's a costume. I'm not gonna care about that. But then I saw what some of the fan artists did. Be like, hey, Netflix wanted an outfit like that. Here's what they did. I saw like 4 different versions. I'm like, hey, like that 4th various version that I saw honestly could have been a really good idea. What the heck are these guys? Kill the machines. Okay, we start from the save point. Like, that's something easy what Netflix could have done and what they should have done, but it's like, God damn it. But they didn't, but it's like, here we are right now, and now you're fearing for the Cowboy Bebop adaptation, because it's like, the One Piece adaptation, because if Cowboy Bebop failed, how much would I bet this is gonna fail big time? Gonna shoot them right back on the foot and be like, well, they shouldn't be doing that. But then again, I always keep bringing up that, that Oda Sensei, he's been wanting to do it for quite some time. There has been a lot of offers for, the Cowboy Bebop adaptation, One Piece adaptation that he's been saying no to a lot. So at the same time, if he's willing to risk his livelihood, his legacy on a One Piece adaptation that's live action that comes to Netflix, it's like, all right, this is on you. I hope it's done well. I would say some of the casting choices are pretty interesting because some of them do kind of match up to like the first pre-time skip of One Piece. So that is going to be interesting. I think one of the characters I'm really afraid of is like how they're going to handle Nico Robin. I honestly think Nico is one of my favorite characters of One Piece. I'm okay with Luffy's actors because he kind of looks like Luffy. Like, get him in costumes, like, yeah, that's Luffy. I literally see the character. Usopp, I think he's spot on perfectly. Rono Zoro, I don't know, could be guy who plays Sanji. Not my pick, but it's like okay, I'm going to see it. I think Chopper is the one that everyone's streaming the most because what the hell is Chopper gonna look like? So there's that, but we'll see how that goes. Again, I got off topic, but then again, you can definitely see why things are getting the way that they are right now on Netflix. On the animation side of things, some of the projects they have released are pretty cool, are pretty awesome in the animation category. Even if they're being made in-house by Netflix and a lot of other companies are helping them out, or they go elsewhere like foreign countries like Studio Fortush. Again, I keep mentioning Love, Death, and Robots. All those companies out there. Some of them have even made their own studios who either previously worked on Spider-Verse. Look at Jimbro or to even like The Witness. That is by the same company, directed by the same director. And it's like, wow, I'm blown away about what these small team could do within the time that they were given, the budget they were given. I'm like, wow. Even someone like David Fincher, who came out and made his own, and well, started in directing and CGI now, based off a short story, but it's like, wow, that was amazing. He translated his directing style to animation very well. I can't wait to see, in my opinion, what's going to come for more of David Fincher if he does more animation and CGI. I think at the end of the day, I'm still with everyone out there with saying that yes, probably ill time to have those four shows up: Love, Death, and Robots, Castlevania, Arcane, and of course The Witcher in animation to say the art of animation, and everyone's coming out, quote, retweeting them, ratio them, saying that didn't you fire a lot of people? Didn't you fire a lot of animators? Didn't you fire a lot of this and that? What happened? I fully understand that, and it sucks to see a lot of these projects be canceled. But at the same time, it's like there's still hope for the animation department in there. If they can get together, we see more of these animation shows, get more spotlight. Plus, they gotta be more market friendly. They gotta get more word of mouth instead of being like, "Oh, just cancel because no one's watching them." Like, I feel like that's a damn shame because some of these animation projects kind of don't deserve to be canceled. But at the same time, it's like it's sad a lot of them see being canceled. And I'm also saying that animation's for everyone. You can't put a label on animation because it's art. You can make stuff for kids, and for that's in the preschool section that I'm fine with, or even stuff that is for kids that like that even stuff that is for kids like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Troll Hunters. You got the Owl House. What was it? What is Hyper Train Infinity for? I think that one was really good. Hyper Train Xfinity. What was it? Was that Hyper Train show? What was that train show? I can't remember what it was. Or like Glitch Trap. It's something that was on Netflix, but it got canceled. I'm like, God damn it! Which could have been really, really great. Which I would have loved if I would have watched it, because I only heard the best things about that. What was it like? Something that was on HBO Max was that space one that was on HBO Max, because it's like I think my friend was talking about that. Was it space something? Space something. Not Space Jam. Yeah, there you go. Final Space, which my friend really loved, but it's like, God damn, I can't believe that got canceled because when for volume for season three, they put up a title saying that we apologize the quality of the animation because again during the pandemic, and you do start to say to yourself like why couldn't we get more of that stuff? Why couldn't we get more of the stuff? It's very sad to see a lot of these shows get canceled and some shows get promoted more than others. Fully understand that, but then again, animation isn't for everyone. But I always will continue to say that it's animation. You can't put it on. Sometimes you need stuff that is for adults. That's like It can be good for adults if they're into that edgy, raunchy stuff. I mean that's okay. Who am I to judge someone for watching that? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I know people are gonna say, aren't you talking about Big Mouth?" I'm like, Big Mouth is Big Mouth. You know, I watched a couple of the episodes. I'm like, you know what? I can see who this is for, but it's like, again, it's very edgy, very grindhouse, very raunchy. It's not for everyone. I'm like, eh, I'll watch more of it if I want to, but it's like, that's on me. I mean, you don't judge me. I don't judge you what you guys are watching, and that is what it is. But it's like, could I see it working? Yes. It just takes it in a way that's to an extreme level where you're like, where you start to say, okay, who's this really for, really? Like, who's this really for? It is what it is. So if I'm gonna sum up in a final thing before, because it's going for way too long, and I'm kind of getting tired of talking, I think Netflix can pull it around. It's just very sad to see this happening to their animation department. I'm sure no one really wanted this to happen to them. I'm sure Netflix was some of these employees at Netflix were very much happy and very much excited to be like, hey, we're really gonna get these shows, up and running. We're gonna get this to work, but it is what it is, unfortunately. I can't control Netflix, but there's one thing that we can do as fans, as their subscriber base, as people who are gonna watch this content, is to come up to be like, watch the shows, maybe start promoting them the best as you can to your ability, like I can. Like, start tweeting out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you have your social media. Start promoting the shows and whatnot. Like, heck, even someone like, if you do Halo, you remember the show that, or this video that someone's like, hey, I'll do the grade on Netflix on the shows that you could be watching. And someone brought up, this show called Scissor 7. That's how I watched it, because I watched this guy's video, and he was like, you watch one thing of this, who people are like are anime nerds, and like, we'll stop and watch it. I'm pretty sure one of my friends knows who I'm going to be talking about. But it's like, that's how sometimes it goes. That's how it goes. That's how sometimes it is. How it goes. Sometimes it takes one person to start talking about it, then you watch it, and it's like, hey, maybe we should get more people to watch that and some stuff. But again, I think that they can't pull it around. I honestly do think that they need to let's just get it together, get it working together. And I do hope for, because again, we are having an event next month for Netflix Geek Week, to be like, all right, we need to get this thing is going. They're gonna show off some more shows, live action, anime, some video games. I'm very much nervous for the video game side of things, because as a gamer myself, I'm gonna be very much nervous about that, because I'm like, I have no idea what they're gonna do in video games. Because it's like, video games adaptations do not have the best track record, save for a few of them. Like, again, like, I keep seeing like Arcane, Dota, Castlevania, the Sonic movies, and Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Those are the gold standards of video game adaptation that I want to see more of. But it's like, all right, Netflix, if you're gonna do this, then I'm gonna have a lot of things to say about that, and I hopefully, things go off for the best. But for the animation side of things, I keep saying that I understand where a lot of people are coming from. I understand why a lot of animators are still very mad, very frustrated at a lot of things. But it is what it is. At sometimes I do hope for the best, and hopefully they can pull around. And then again, these are just one man's opinion. I want to hear yours in the comments below. So tell me about it. This has been Discussion Rant, and see you guys next time.